Now I'm having a variant 12 for May-June 2025. The code for this chemistry is 5070. It's paper 1 multiple choice. I'm not going to discuss the instructions and the other details. You know, it's 1 hour 40 marks question, 4 choices. You have to choose the best one. The calculator is allowed. Priority table is printed in the paper. So straight away I'm going to start with the question number 1. Here's question number 1. At temperature X, the volume of samples of hexane and pentane are not affected by changing the pressure from 1 atm to 2 atm. At temperature X, the pentane molecules are free to move. At temperature X, the hexane molecules are in fixed positions. What are the states of hexane and pentane at temperature X? Now they have already mentioned that the volume of these samples of hexane and pentane, they are not affected by changing pressure. So it must be either solid or liquid. It can't be gas. Now, at temperature X, the pentane molecules are free to move. When we are saying free to move, it must be in liquid state. What about hexane molecules? They are in fixed position, so it must be in solid state. So obviously C must be the right answer. In this case, other choices are incorrect. Moving to next MCQ. A gas is produced by a chemical reaction at one side of a laboratory. After a few minutes, the gas is detected at the other side of the laboratory. Which process explains why the gas is detected at the other side of the laboratory? It's due to diffusion. There's a net movement of particles from higher concentration to lower concentration area. So B is the right choice. Number 3. Which statement is correct? All compounds are ionic. This is incorrect because some of the compounds are covalent also. B. All compounds conduct electricity when molten. This is also incorrect. When we are saying conduction of electricity is associated due to the presence of mobile electrons or ions. So it's not important that all compounds conduct electricity. See, each atom of an element contains the same number of protons. This looks correct to me because the number of protons gives the identity of an element. So each atom of an element contains the same number of protons. So this must be the right answer. For your convenience, I am checking the last statement. In a mixture of substances, the proportions of the substances are always the same. This is incorrect because the mixture, you can't have the same or even proportion. C must be the right answer in this case.
Welcome to Chain of Qualified Tutors. Unlock your academic potential with expert tutoring, from secondary school to graduation level. Master math, science, English, and more with personalized one-on-one guidance. Call or WhatsApp for a free demo session. We offer on-site and online tuition.
Number 4. Atoms of element Q form positive ions. An ion of Q has 10 electrons and 14 neutrons. Which statement is correct? Now they are saying atoms of element Q form positive ions. So there are chances that it can be a metal. Most probably it's a metal. And then they are saying an ion of Q has 10 electrons, which means it must have protons higher number of protons higher than 10. It can't be 10. Which statement is correct? An atom of Q has only 2 occupied electron shells. Now they are saying 2 occupied electron shells. Here's a periodic table. So 2 occupied shells after losing electrons. Is it possible we can have metals with 2 occupied shells? And they have already also gave us the information about the number of neutrons. So let's see the number of neutrons also for these metals. So there's a possibility, but it's not important. There's a possibility of having metals from these group, because they are saying that it has only 2 occupied shells, sodium, magnesium or aluminum, but it's only a possibility. We are not sure. B, Q's are non-metals. This is incorrect, because it's a metal at its as it is forming positive ions. C, the atomic number of Q is 10. This is also incorrect. The reason is that I've already told you the number of protons should be higher than 10, as the ion has 10 electrons. So it can't has atomic number of 10. It can have atomic number of 11, 12, 13. D, the mass number of Q is greater than 24. So let's see the subtract the number of neutrons from this in order to get the number of protons. So 24 minus 14 gives 10. So they are saying mass number of Q is greater than 24. It means it can be 25 or 26, because if you subtract 14 from 25, you will be getting 11 as its proton number. So this must be the confirmed answer for this question. A can't be the right answer. It's a little bit confusing, but this must be the correct answer for this one. MCQ number 5. Which particle contains the greatest number of electrons? Now simply count the number of electrons for all of these ions or atoms. A, Mg2 plus. Mg2 plus, look at the proton number of Mg. It's 12. So after losing 2 plus means it has lost 2 electrons. So number of electrons will be left. Number of electrons for Mg2 plus will be 10. What about N3 minus? Here is N3 minus. Proton number of N is 7. So 7 plus 3, because it's 3 minus, which means that it has gained 3 electrons. So it must also be 10. What about neon? Here is neon. Look at the number of electrons, 10. So I think D must be the right answer. For your convenience, I am checking it. S, the proton number of S is 16, and there's a charge of 2 minus, which means it has gained 2 electrons. So it must be having 18 electrons. So D is the final and right answer for this one. Number 6. The table shows data about 2 isotopes in a sample of the element europium. What is the relative atomic mass of this sample of europium? So it's very easy. Simply multiply the percentage abundance with the masses of these isotopes. So we have 150.92 multiplied by 47.81 divided by 100 plus 152.92 multiplied by 52.19 divided by 100, or take 100 as common. So 150.92 multiplied by 47.81, 7215.4852 plus 152.92 multiplied by 52.19, 7980.8948. Add these and divided by 100. So 7215.4852 plus 7980 8948 divided by 100. 151.96. 151.96. So B must be the right answer for MCQ number 6. Next MCQ. Which statement about magnesium oxide is correct? Magnesium oxide, it's ionic compound. Quickly recall the properties of ionic compounds. A. It has a high melting point and good electrical conductivity at room temperature pressure. This point is correct, but this one is incorrect. So this can't be the right statement. B. It is made up of magnesium anions and oxygen cations. It's also incorrect. It must be having magnesium cations and oxygen anions. So this is also incorrect. See, it is an ionic compound and has good electrical conductivity when molten. This looks correct to me. For a convenience, I am checking the last statement. It is strongly bonded because of electrons shared between magnesium atoms and oxygen atoms. Electrons are not shared, they are transferred from magnesium to oxygen atoms. So C must be the final and right answer for this MCQ. Number 8. Which statement about silicon 4 oxide is correct? Remember, silicon 4 oxide is a giant structure. It's a macromolecule having many or strong covalent bonds. A. It conducts electricity. This is incorrect. Does not conduct electricity. Does not have any free electrons. B. It has a giant covalent structure. Yeah, this is correct. For convenience, I'm checking the other statement. It's an alloy. Incorrect. It's ionically bonded. It's also incorrect. So B must be the right answer in this case. 9. Which compound has the highest relative formula mass Mr? Now the name of the compounds are given: calcium carbonate, lithium sulfate, magnesium chloride, potassium nitrate. Simply write down the formula and calculate their Mr. So calcium carbonate, where's calcium? Calcium is in group 2. Here's calcium. So valency of calcium is +2. We know that carbonate ion is carrying -2 charge. So +2 -2, ignore their charges, simplify this. These subscripts will be exchanged. So we'll get what? CaCO3. Lithium sulfate. Lithium is in group 1. Here's lithium. So valency will be +1. And sulfate ion, we know the charge on sulfate ion, it's -2. So ignore their charges. These subscripts will be exchanged. So we'll get what? Li2SO4. Magnesium chloride. Magnesium is in group 2. Here's magnesium. +2 is the valency. Chlorine. Chlorine is in group 7. -1 will be valency. So we'll be having -1 +2. Ignore the charges. These subscripts will be exchanged. So we'll get what? MgCl2. Last but not least, potassium nitrate, K. K is in group 1. +1 is the valency. Nitrate, it carries -1 charge. Ignore the charges. Subscripts will be exchanged. You will get KNO3. If you will calculate the Mr, you will get B as the right answer. It must be having highest relative formula mass. Other choices are incorrect. Number 10. 100 centimeter cube of ethene is completely combusted and 400 centimeter cube of oxygen. The volumes of both gases are measured at RTP. What is the final volume of gas in the mixture measured at RTP? Now it's a complete combustion reaction. The formula of ethene, it's C2H4 plus O2. And complete combustion, we know that carbon dioxide and steam is produced. Let's balance the equation. So carbon will be balanced by placing 2 here. What about hydrogen? Place 2 before water. Hydrogen is also balanced. What about oxygen? 2 2s are 4. 4 plus 2, 6. 3O2. It's also balanced. Now they gave us the volume. So we have 100 centimeter cube of ethene and 400 centimeter cube of oxygen. And they are saying it's ethene is completely combusted, which means that ethene is the limiting reactant. This one is the limiting, and if ethene is the limiting, then oxygen must be in excess. So first of all, I need to find how much oxygen will be reacted with this ethene. If looking at the reacting ratio, either you will consider this in terms of moles or volume ratio. So we have C2H4 plus 3O2. So 1, if I'll consider this 1 centimeter cube of ethene gas reacting with 3 centimeter cube, then 100 must be reacting with X, or X must be 3 multiplied by 100, 300 centimeter cube. So only 300 centimeter cube of the oxygen will be reacted, 100 centimeter cube of the oxygen will be left. So O2 left at the end of the combustion will be 100 centimeter cube. Now I want to find the volume of the gases on the product side also, so that I can add to this 100 centimeter cube. Okay, so for ethene, let's see the ratio of ethene with, in fact, both carbon dioxide and H2O, the ratio is same. That is 1 centimeter cube reacting with 2 centimeter cube. Therefore 1 centimeter cube producing 2 centimeter cube. Therefore 100 centimeter cube producing X, or you can say 200. So 200 centimeter cube of carbon dioxide as well as 200 centimeter cube of water. So we have CO2 200 centimeter cube and H2O also 200 centimeter cube. So adding up these, we'll be getting 500 decimeter cube. This will be the final and correct answer. The formula of hydrated sodium carbonate is Na2CO3.10H2O. What is the percentage composition by mass of oxygen in hydrated sodium carbonate? So for this, I need to find the MR of this Na2CO3.10H2O. Where is Na? Here is Na. The mass or nucleon number of N is 23. We have carbon. The mass of carbon is 12. Oxygen must be 16. So 2 multiplied by 23 plus 1 multiplied by 12 plus 3 multiplied by 16 plus we have 10 moles of H2O. So 10 will be multiplied by the MR of H2O. MR of H2O is 18. So you will get 180 here. So 2 multiplied by 23 is 46. 46 plus 12 plus 48 plus 180. 46 plus 12 plus 48 plus 180. 286. 286 is the MR. Now I need to find the percentage composition by mass of oxygen. They are talking about only oxygen here. So let's separate oxygen here. In this, we have 3 moles of oxygen in Na2CO3 and 10 moles of oxygen atom in H2O. So 10 plus 3 is 13. 13 percentage oxygen. 13 will be multiplied by 16 multiplied by 100 in order to get the percentage composition and divided by 286. 13 multiplied by 16 multiplied by 100 divided by 286. 72.72. So D must be the right answer in this case. It's totally calculation based question. Okay, number 12. The diagram shows the electrolysis of molten lead bromide with inert electrodes. We have molten lead bromide. Which row identifies the particles that carry charge along each arrow? So that's for sure that 1, 2 and 4 must be electrons. 1, 2 and 4 electrons. And then we are having 3 as ions. But what ions? What ions? We see the movement of electrons from anode to cathode. This one is anode. This one is cathode. And we know that at anode there is a loss of electrons. So here lead bromide ion will be the one which loses electrons. So this must be of bromide. So let's see the choices. 1, 2 and 4 electrons. 1, 2, 4. So A is incorrect. Either B is correct, C is correct or D is correct. 1, 2 and 4. 1, 2 and 4 electrons and 3 is the bromide ion. So C must be the right answer in this case. All the other choices are incorrect. MCQ number 13. What are the products formed at the 2 electrodes when aqueous copper 2 sulfate is electrolyzed using copper electrodes? You see, we have copper electrodes and we are doing the electrolysis of aqueous copper 2 sulfate. They are asking about the product. So at anode we will be getting oxygen gas and water, and cathode we will be getting copper metal. C must be the right answer. Sorry, we are having copper electrodes, not inert electrodes. In case of copper electrodes, we'll be getting copper metal at cathode, and at anode we'll be getting aqueous copper 2 ions. The reason is that the loss of copper 2 plus ion in the solution will be compensated by the anode. It will dissolve to gives aqueous copper 2 ions in the solution. So A must be the final and correct answer. All the other choices are incorrect. Remember, it's a copper electrode, it's not for inert electrode. In case of inert electrode, you will be getting oxygen gas at anode along with copper at cathode. 14. Which statement about a hydrogen oxygen fuel cell is correct? A. It uses a chemical reaction that has only one product. This looks correct to me. For your convenience, I'm checking the other statements. B. It works by burning hydrogen in air. This is wrong. We are not burning hydrogen in air. We have hydrogen fuel cell. So we are reacting this hydrogen ions with oxygen gas. C. It requires a continuous input of electrical energy. No electrical energy is required. It produces electricity. D. It is less efficient than a petrol engine. This is incorrect. It is more efficient as it produces 3 times more energy than the same mass of petrol produces. So A must be the final and correct answer for this one. 15. A reaction pathway diagram is shown. So if you look at the reaction, product will be at the high energy state, so it must be endothermic. Endothermic. And if its overall reaction is endothermic, so we have bond breaking happening. Bond breaking happening here. Which equation does the reaction pathway diagram show? This combination A, it can't be the right answer. It must be exothermic as the bonds are joining, not breaking. B, H2 gas gives 2H gas. This looks correct to me because there's a breaking of bond. So for the breaking of this H2, it can give this reaction pathway diagram. What about C? H2O gas gives H2O liquid. There's no breaking of bond taking place in this. There's a conversion of state, that's gas to liquid. It's also incorrect. And also this process releases energy to the surrounding. So it's also exothermic, it's not endothermic. What about D? 2O, it are combining to produce O2. So this is also exothermic. So B must be the right answer. All the other choices are incorrect. Which process is a chemical change? Now they are talking about chemical change. Remember, in the chemical change, you will be getting a new substance, new chemical substance. A, the distillation of aqueous ethanol. Distillation of aqueous ethanol is not a chemical change. You're simply separating ethanol from water. So A is incorrect. B, the evaporation of water from aqueous sodium carbonate. This is a physical process, physical change. It's not producing a new substance. C, the melting of wax. Melting of wax, it's also a change of state. When you melt the wax, you're changing a state from solid to liquid. So again, you are not getting any new substance. So this can't be the chemical change. The last one is the correct one, the rusting of iron, as it produces new substances. Iron reacts with oxygen and water present in the air to produce rust. Rust is a new substance. Aqueous sodium thiosulfate reacts with hydrochloric acid. The rate of the reaction increases if the concentration of both reactants is increased. Nitrogen gas reacts with hydrogen gas. The rate of the reaction increases if the pressure in the reaction vessel is increased. Which row correctly explains why the given change increases the rate of reaction? So in case of reaction of aqueous sodium thiosulfate and hydrochloric acid, when increasing the concentration. So what will happen if you increase the concentration? There will be higher frequency of collision. The frequency of collision will be higher. So either A is correct or B is correct. C and D is incorrect. What about the effect of increasing the pressure in the reaction vessel containing nitrogen and hydrogen? So again, we are having higher frequency of collision particles. It has nothing to do with the activation energy. It has nothing to do with the activation energy. It's associated, this statement is associated with the presence of catalyst. So A must be the right answer in this case. MCQ number 18. Magnesium reacts with dilute sulfuric acid. Two experiments are carried out at 25 degrees centigrade. Experiment 1, 24 gram of powdered magnesium is reacted with 100 centimeter cube of 1 mole per dm cube sulfuric acid. Experiment 2, 24 gram of powdered magnesium is reacted with 50 centimeter cube of 2 mole per dm cube sulfuric acid. During each experiment, the volume of hydrogen produced is measured at regular time intervals. The results are plotted on a graph. You see, in experiment 2, the concentration of sulfuric acid is higher than in experiment 1. But there is one more thing, that is in experiment 1, the volume of sulfuric acid is higher than the volume of sulfuric acid in experiment 2. Comparing these two and comparing these two. In both the experiment, they have used powdered magnesium. During each experiment, the volume of hydrogen produced is measured at regular time intervals. The results are plotted on a graph. Which graph is correct? Now experiment 1, straight line is used to represent experiment 1 and dotted line is used to represent experiment 2. So experiment 2, the concentration of sulfuric acid is higher. So it means, but the volume is same. So the rate will be higher for experiment 2 as compared to experiment 1. But both the lines will meet at the same point, as if you will look at the number of moles. Let me show you the number of moles for this one. For this one, number of moles. 1 mole per dm cube means 1000 contains 1 mole. And 100 contains X moles. So 100 divided by 0.1 moles here. What about experiment 2? 2 mole per dm cube means 1000 contains 2 moles. 50 centimeter cube contains X moles. So 50 will be multiplied by 2, we will get 100 and then divided by 1000. So you will get again 0.1 mole. So see, the number of moles are same. So it means either A is correct or B is correct. You will get horizontal line eventually because the moles are not different. The overall reacting moles are same, but the concentration is different. So experiment 2 will be faster as compared to experiment 1. So A must be the right answer in this case. Number 19. Which row gives the catalyst for each of the two processes? This is something which you have to learn by heart. Contact process, you know it's vanadium 5 oxide, either C is correct or D is correct. For Haber process, it's iron. So C must be the right answer in this case. D is incorrect. The diagram shows the change in pH as a strong alkali is added to a weak alkali. Remember this statement that strong alkali is added to weak acid, which means the pH will rise. pH will rise definitely, that's for sure. And both of these are, alkali is strong, acid is weak. So pH will be on much higher side. 40 centimeter cube of strong alkali is added to a weak acid and a sample of the solution is tested separately with methyl orange and thiamethylene. Which row is correct? This is something which you have to learn by heart. You are adding alkali to acid, which means that you have to show the color for alkali for both of these indicators. So methyl orange, it gives yellow with alkali. Thiamethylene, it gives blue with alkali. So D must be the right answer. This is something which you have to learn by heart. 21. Which row shows the equations for the dissociation of methanoic acid and nitric acid? Methanoic acid is HCOOH. It's an organic acid. It will dissociate to produce H positive ion and HCOO negative ion. What about nitric acid? Nitric acid is HNO3. The formula is correct for HNO3, nitric acid, and methanoic acid is HCOOH. Nitric acid, it will dissociate to produce H positive ion and NO3 minus ion. So the difference between these two is that methanoic acid is a weak acid and nitric acid is a strong acid. So the sign must be changed for the dissociation. So either C is correct or D is correct. Methanoic acid is a weak acid, nitric acid is a strong acid. So D must be the right answer in this case. Number 22. Which statement about elements in the periodic table is correct? A. Across a period, elements at the left hand side of the periodic table are more metallic than those at the right hand side. This statement looks correct to me. For your convenience, I am checking the other statements also. Down a group, elements at the top of the group lose electrons more readily than those at the bottom of the group. This is wrong, because if you look at the periodic table, here's a periodic table, metallic character increases. Metallic character increases, which means that the elements at the bottom are become more metallic. They will lose electron more readily than the metals or elements at the top. See, elements in the same group of the periodic table have the same number of completed shells of electrons. This is incorrect. They have same number of valence electrons. D. Elements in the same period of the periodic table have the same number of electrons in the outer shell. This is incorrect. They have same number of shells with electrons. Same number of shells in the period. Same period means they have a same number of shells having number of electrons, not the number of electrons. They just have the same number of shells with electrons. So A must be the right answer in this case, No need to see other details also. 23. Rubidium and cesium are both elements in group 1 of the periodic table. Which prediction about comparing rubidium and cesium is correct? Where's rubidium and cesium? Here's rubidium and cesium. Cesium is at bottom and rubidium as top. Both are in group 1. Okay. Cesium has higher density than and greater reactivity. These statements look correct to me, because as you go down, the density increases and reactivity also increases. For your convenience, I am checking the other statements. B. Cesium has a higher density. Rubidium has a greater reactivity. This is incorrect. This one is correct. This is incorrect. C. Rubidium has a higher density and greater reactivity. This is incorrect. Cesium is below rubidium. So cesium is below rubidium, which means that cesium must be having lower density and lower reactivity. Both of these statements are incorrect. D. Rubidium has a higher density, cesium has greater reactivity. This is incorrect. It's having lower density. So only A is the right response here. 24. Three statements about the halogens are listed. All halogens are non-metallic diatomic molecules. This statement is correct. 2. Chlorine displaces both bromine and iodine from aqueous solutions of their salts. This is also correct. 3. The halogens become more reactive on descending group 7 of the periodic table. Descending means you are going down the group. So in group 7, here's group 7. We have fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine, tennessine. The reactivity decreases as you go down the group. So the halogens does not become more reactive. It becomes less reactive on descending group 7 of the periodic table. So 1 and 2 is correct. B must be the right answer for MCQ number 24. 25. Which statements about neon are correct? 1. It is unreactive. Where is neon? Here's neon. Group 8. Helium, neon. It's in group 8. We know that group 8, they are unreactive. So 1 is correct. 2. It has strong intermolecular. It does not have strong intermolecular forces because they exist in the gas state. So the forces are very weak. So it doesn't have any strong intermolecular force. So if number 3, it has a full outer shell of electron. This is also correct. So B must be the right answer in this case. Substance X has the following properties. Melting point 1237 degrees centigrade. Boiling point 2595 degrees centigrade. Malleable, good electrical and thermal conductivity at RTP. What is the structure of substance X? Looking at these properties, it must be a metal. So if it's a metal, so it must be having giant metallic lattice. No need to look at the other choices. Giant covalent, it's present in covalent substances. Giant ionic lattice in ionic substances. Simple molecular in covalent molecules and covalent compounds. So other choices are incorrect. 27. Which statement explains why objects manufactured from aluminium corrode very slowly? We know that aluminium forms a protective oxide layer which is impermeable or prevents further reaction. So if you look at the choices, we have aluminium above hydrogen in the reactivity. No, this can't be the reason. Aluminium below hydrogen in the this is incorrect. C. The objects become coated with a protective layer of aluminum nitrate. It will form protective layer of aluminium oxide, not aluminium nitride. D must be the right answer. The objects become coated with a protective layer of aluminium oxide. 28. The iron 3 oxide used in a blast furnace contains an impurity, silicon 4 oxide SiO2, which reaction removes the silicon 4 oxide. You know that in blast furnace calcium oxide, which removes silicon 4 oxide by reacting and forming calcium silicate or CaSiO3. So obviously choice C is the final and correct answer in this case. The domestic water supply is treated before it is supplied to houses. 3 treatments are listed: sedimentation and filtration, treatment with chlorine, treatment with carbon. Which row shows the purpose of the treatments? Sedimentation and filtration does not kill microbes. This is incorrect. Removes solids. This is correct. This is also correct for sedimentation filtration. What about D? Removes unpleasant taste and odor. This is incorrect. So either B is correct or C is correct. I am checking the other statements. Treatment with chlorine kills microbes. Yes. Treatment with carbon, it removes unpleasant taste and odor. This is also correct. So B must be the right answer. For your convenience, I am checking the C also. Sedimentation, filtration, remove solid. This is right. Treatment with chlorine removes unpleasant taste and odor. This is incorrect. No need to check the last one. So B is the final and correct answer. 30. Nitrates and ammonium salts are used as fertilizers. Which fertilizer contains the greatest mass of nitrogen in 50 kg of the compound? So for this purpose, you need to calculate the MR of these. I'm going to solve only one for you. So you will do the apply this concept to others. I'm doing this for ammonium chloride, which is NH4Cl. MR of NH4Cl. Where's nitrogen? Here's nitrogen. Mass of nitrogen is 14. Chlorine, here's chlorine. Mass is 35.5. So we have 14 plus 4 atoms of hydrogen. You know that its mass is 1 plus 35.5. 14 plus 4 plus 35.5. This will be MR 53.5. So in order to calculate the mass of nitrogen in 50 kilogram, so I will consider this as kilogram. 53.5 kilogram contains 14 kilogram. 50 kilogram contains X. In this way, you're going to calculate the kilogram of mass of nitrogen in this. 14 multiplied by 50 and divided by 53.5. This will be the kilogram of nitrogen, 13.088. In this way, you're going to calculate for others, and the final answer must be B in this case. So you will try for the others and you will find it that B must be the right answer in this case. 31. Which strategy reduces methane emissions? A. Flue gas desulfurization. Flue gas desulfurization removes acidic oxides. Acidic oxides removed. B. Planting more trees. So planting more trees means CO2 will be removed. CO2 or carbon dioxide will be removed. C. Reduction in livestock farming. This looks correct to me because if we reduce the livestock farming, it reduces the emission of methane gas. For convenience, I'm checking the last one, use of catalytic converter. It removes carbon monoxide and nitrogen. So C must be the right answer in this case. Number 32. Compound P is an alcohol with the molecular formula C4H10O. How many structural isomers are there of compound P? So we have a molecular formula C4H10O and they are saying it's an alcohol. If it's an alcohol, it must be having OH group, hydroxyl group. And in the question they are asking how many structural isomers are there of compound P. So let's start drawing the structural isomers. We'll start with the straight chain first. So we have 4 carbon atoms, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I can place OH at any position. For example, if I am placing here, the other carbons they are having H. I am not going to show H here in order to save time. In order to make its isomer, what I will do, I will change the position of this OH. So let's have this OH on carbon number 2. What else we can do? Now I can shift the position of this alkyl group. This one is known as alkyl group in order to make another isomer. So we have now chain of 3 carbon, 1, 2, 3. Now I have moved this one. I have moved this alkyl group to the carbon number 3. If I will consider this 1, 2, 3, and I have replaced this with hydrogen atom. So we have CH3 here. I am not going to change the position of OH. Okay, these are the 3 isomers so far. What if I will change the position of OH again? Then we can have one more isomer. Let's keep the structure as it is. I mean the chain. And change the position of OH. So it means there will be 4 structural isomers of this compound. So C must be the right answer in this case. 33. Alkanes undergo a substitution reaction with chlorine. Which row shows 2 correct statements about the reaction between alkanes and chlorine? Remember, it's a substitution reaction in which hydrogen atom is replaced by chlorine atom. So in the statement 1, I am reading all these statements. Statement 1 for all the choices. In A, they are saying a carbon atom is replaced by a chlorine atom. This is incorrect. No need to read the statement number 2 for this one. B, a hydrogen atom is replaced by a chlorine atom. This is correct. C, again they are saying carbon atom is replaced by a chlorine atom. This is again wrong. Last one, a hydrogen atom is replaced by a chlorine atom. This can also be the right answer. Now you see I have narrowed down the choices. A and C is incorrect. Either B is correct or D is correct. Let's see B. The reaction requires thermal energy. Does not require thermal energy. Takes place in the presence of ultraviolet light. So D must be the right response in this case. (34) A molecule of the compound C4H6 is shown. This molecule undergoes 2 separate addition reactions. It undergoes an addition reaction with excess bromine and an addition reaction with steam. One molecule of C4H6 reacts with 1 of bromine. They left it blank. When C4H6 reacts with steam, 2 is formed. Which words complete gaps 1 and 2? Now that's for sure that on reaction with steam, it will form alcohol. So 2 must be alcohol. So either A is correct or C is correct. Both B and D is Let me do this again. Either A is correct or C is correct. B and D is incorrect. Now what about reaction with bromine? You see the number of double bonds here? We have 2 double bonds here. 1, 2. So it means it must be reacting with 2 molecules of Br2 plus 2 Br2 during its addition reaction. So C must be the right response in this case. 35. Which statement about members of the homologous series of alcohols is correct? A. An alcohol with 2 carbon atoms in each molecule is called methanol. This is wrong, because in methanol we have only 1 carbon. So this is incorrect. B. Butanol can be combusted to give carbon dioxide and water only. This looks correct to me, because during complete combustion, carbon dioxide and water is the product produced. What about C? Ethanol is the only alcohol that can be oxidized to a carboxylic acid. This is incorrect. Other alcohols can also be oxidized to carboxylic acid. D. Propanol can be made by the catalyzed addition of steam to ethene. This is incorrect. The reason is that if you want to make propanol, you need to undergo catalyzed addition of steam to propene, not ethene. So this is also incorrect. So B must be the right answer in this case. Moving to next MCQ, which is 36. The diagram shows the structure of a compound called ethanoic anhydride. This is the structure displayed formula. 1 mole of ethanoic anhydride reacts with water to form 2 mole of a carboxylic acid only. This carboxylic acid reacts with ethanol to form an ester. How many moles of water react with 1 mole of ethanoic anhydride? And what is the structure of the ester? So if it's reacting to form 2 mole of carboxylic acid, so if we'll break it down, if I will react it with H2O, HOH, H2O can also be written as HOH. This will be break it down in this way. So this part will get H only, while the top one will get OH. So it means number of moles of water for this one will be 1. 1 mole of water is required. 1 mole of water is required. 1 mole of water. And what about the ester? When it's reacted with ethanol, it forms an ester. So ester must be ethyl ethanoate. Ethyl ethanoate. So if you look at the choices, only either A is correct or B is correct. So in case of A, they are saying 1 mole of water is reacting and the structure of the ester is ethyl. This is ethyl ethanoate. This part is ethanoate. So this must be the right answer here. This is incorrect. The reason is that here we are having methyl propanoate. So this is incorrect. So A must be the right answer in this case. Other choices are incorrect because the number of moles of water are higher here. This is incorrect. So even though if you see on the product side, this one is correct, but as they have mentioned 2 for the moles of water, so these choices will be incorrect responses. 37. 4 samples are analyzed using paper chromatography. P, Q and R are pure substances. M is a mixture of different substances. Which substances does mixture M contain? If you look at this M, the spot in M, this one is of Q, this one is of P, and this one is like unknown. Okay, now let's see the responses. Which substances does mixture M contain? P, Q and R? Incorrect. B, P, Q and another substance. This looks correct to me. C, P and Q only? No, we can't have P and Q only. The reason is that we are getting third spot also. This is incorrect. Last one, D, P and R only. This is also incorrect. So D must be the right response here. B must be the right response here. (38) A student is making a sample of aqueous copper 2 sulfate. The student adds an excess of copper 2 oxide powder to warm sulfuric acid and stirs the mixture. Which apparatus is used to separate aqueous copper 2 sulfate from the excess copper 2 oxide? So we need filter funnel and paper. Definitely we need filter funnel and paper, because excess copper 2 oxide will be removed by using filter, paper and funnel. So C must be the right response here. 39. How can a pure sample of barium sulfate can be obtained from barium carbonate? You know, barium carbonate is insoluble. So we have to react it. You can't dissolve it in water because it's insoluble. So both C and D is incorrect. Either A is correct or B is correct. Okay, what they are saying in A: dissolve it in dilute hydrochloric acid, add dilute sulfuric acid, filter and crystallize. Now they are saying crystallize. You can't crystallize barium sulfate. This is also insoluble. Both of these are insoluble in water. In water. So you can't crystallize it. Dissolve it in dilute. In B, what they are saying, dissolve it in dilute hydrochloric acid, add dilute sulfuric acid, filter and wash. This looks correct to me. So B must be the right response here. A is incorrect. Moving to last MCQ 40. A sample of a white powder X is dissolved in water. Tests are done on separate portions of this solution and the observations are shown in the table. Add aqueous sodium hydroxide a drop at a time until in excess white precipitate forms soluble in excess, giving a colorless solution. Now sodium hydroxide, it forms white precipitate which redissolves for Al plus 3 and Zn plus 2 ions. Acidify with dilute nitric acid, then add aqueous silver nitrate. White precipitate form. This one is for the chloride ion. Acidify with dilute nitric acid, then add aqueous barium nitrate. The solution remains colorless. SO4, that is sulfate ion, absent. What is X? Now we don't have a zinc in the responses, so either A is correct or B is correct. C and D is incorrect. So it must be A, aluminium chloride. This must be the final answer here. Thanks for watching. Press like and share my videos. For more videos, subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon.